Hey, everybody, it's Eric, Brad, and Will from the Mature Minded Gamers, and we're bringing you our Star Trek podcast covering Discovery Season 3, Episode 7, Unification 3.
Part 3. What up, guys?
Yo, yo.
So let's talk about this. So when you seen the title, what do you think was going to go on here?
Okay, so I I generally don't watch all of the like the post show what's going to happen next episode. I don't read what the next episode's going to be called because I genuinely want to be surprised when we walk into it. So when I saw it was Unification Part 3, first of all, when you sent me that text message, I thought that you were joking. So when I actually saw that's what that was, I was ecstatic because those are two of my favorite episodes of Next Generation. I think for any of you guys that have been listening to us from the get-go, know that when we did our top 5 episodes for Star Trek, this was somewhere in the mix for mine. It wasn't my number one or number 2, but it definitely is in my top 5. I didn't know we were going to go with it, but man, was I just I was not let down. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, as far as the title, I'll be honest, I didn't even see it.
I was pretty excited about it, knowing what Unification 1 and 2 were. And then also from the preview, we seen, obviously they're going to Vulcan. I didn't necessarily know about the Romulan part, but we'll get to that. All right, so this episode starts out with Michael, who is really debating on whether she wants to stay with Starfleet or go off with Book. Let's discuss this. What do you guys think after this whole scene with her and Book getting pretty intimate there? And I thought she was done. What do you guys think?
Nah, I didn't. I mean, even when she's doubted everything, she stayed Starfleet after she every step of the way. When she's gone a different direction than Starfleet, she's come back to Starfleet. Like she may be doubting herself, but they're some of the most devout people and believing in certain things go through a phase of doubt. I mean, it's kind of natural. My eyes.
I didn't think she was going anywhere. I wouldn't say surprised that kind of happened with her and Book, but I don't know. It didn't really even need to be there.
I don't think we really knew how far the relationship had went. Up until this point, we weren't even sure if they were like boyfriend, girlfriend until they kissed the episode before. And then we couldn't tell if it was the first kiss or, something they've done before. So this kind of cemented that I think that, unless they fast forwarded it quite a bit, that this is something that's been happening for a while. And they were just kind of holding back perhaps because they knew they were going to be separated.
I don't believe it's any of those things. I just think that they didn't let the relationship develop at all until they got to this point. I think the emotions and the kiss from last episode was like that was the first of a lot of things, and it's just sort of caught speed since then. They've let overflow the things that they've been feeling for a long time.
So you think that was the first time they got intimate then?
Oh yeah, I do.
See, I don't. I after seeing that, unless they just this show is moving breakneck speed, but I don't know. It just felt rushed even for them, but maybe not. So the next scene we have Michael and Tilly are working on the black box data, and they're kind of having a heart-to-heart discussion here. And Michael's, kind of pretty sure she's done, I think, at this point still. So I don't really know. Tilly looks hurt and upset that she's going to, lose a friend, but they still work on this project together, and they get it figured out that there's some nanoseconds difference between when these black boxes the ship was blown up that was attached to these black boxes. And so they think they know now, they have enough evidence with these 3 that it was not a natural thing that all the stuff blew up at once. It was something man-made or something that was caused by something else, I think. So they decide to go to talk to the commander of Starfleet and try to get some more information from them about it, because I think it was Tilly or Michael that read about some experiment about sensors being throughout the sensors being out throughout the system. And so they thought maybe they could get access to this data. And so they go to talk to him, and he tells them an interesting fact that we've been very curious about. where are the Vulcans and the Romulans and the Klingons and all that stuff? Well, now we know that the Vulcans and the Romulans have unified and also left Starfleet. What'd you guys think at this point?
It's all you, man.
Huh?
It's all you, buddy.
All right. So, gosh, where to begin? That's a lot, Eric. First thought was that I'm glad to see that the Romulan and Vulcan relationship got better and continued to march towards an actual unification. I think that was something that we were missing in Picard, was that like sort of warm and fuzzy that was actually happening. So to see them living on the same planet, knowing what we know about what happened to Picard and what kicked off the Kelvin universe and everything about Romulus going away and about the Romulans needing a home to call their own, seeing the two species come together was great. Am I surprised that they left the Federation? I think I'm more surprised that I'm not surprised that they left the Federation than I am anything else, if that makes any sense. I think that the description and the reason they gave, maybe that wasn't, in my mind, super strong, but whatever. I'm okay with that. I guess it just spoke volumes. Everything about that spoke volumes that I can't really articulate in a short amount of time of how things are going well for both of those species, and the fact that they're not in Federation is probably helping their unification process. So this is my thought.
I was kind of surprised to hear that Vulcan had left the Federation. I mean, they were one of the founding members of the Federation, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I was actually really surprised that they left. And I guess the whole unification. I mean, we had Spock talk about this in episodes of the Next Generation, right? So we kind of knew it was a possibility. And I don't know, as far as like with the whole timelines, the Kelvin universe versus the Prime universe and all this other doohickey stuff that's been going on in the Star Trek realm or whatever. But the fact that like Romulus, I thought, blew up. So Romulans needed a new home. But then I thought Vulcan also blew up. So it's like, what planet are they actually on now? And, does it even make sense? I know you guys are probably talking the Vulcan is still there. Romulus is still there. It's all the same. It's
Romulus
all whatever.
Is not still there.
Romulus did blow up.
Romulus blew up in the Prime timeline. Yes. Vulcan did not blow up in the Prime timeline.
See, this is all just, it's getting too timey-wimey stuff, right? All these different versions.
I don't know, Will. I mean, you tell me that this was bot 747 from the Star Wars movie that appeared in episode 37 of Whatchamajiggy, and I'm like, what?
Well, it's because that makes sense.
I think you need to pay attention to the better series.
Well, I don't know about that. But what we are talking about is the fact that I wasn't surprised that the Romulans and the Vulcans kind of made up, right? But I was more surprised that the Vulcans left the Federation. And this was actually done before, right? So it wasn't after the burn. It was actually prior to the burn. So
no, it was after the burn. They said that the reason they left was because they thought SB-19 was the cause of the burn.
I thought it was because when Federation wanted to disband, or the Vulcans decided they wanted to pull out of the SB-19. So the Federation said, nope, we're going to continue. That's what caused the Vulcans to pull out. And then the burn occurred.
No, it all happened after the burn, but they pushed the Vulcans to go ahead and continue with the experiment. And the Vulcans think that experiment caused the burn. So they think that the Federation made them cause the great burn.
That's not what I got out of it when I was watching it. So, hey, maybe I wasn't paying attention, as you say, Brad.
I didn't say you weren't paying attention.
Or Eric, excuse me. It was there. See, I'm not even paying attention. He was talking to me.
Brad was just thinking it. So we got a nice little scene of Burnham back in her ready room, or whatever it is, or not her ready room, but her room. And she's watching the scene from the Next Generation of Spock talking about unification. I thought that was a really nice touch. And then she goes through a couple other memories of him, kind of solidifying their bond, I think. So I think we kind of all knew what was coming next. They end up going to this planet, which was Vulcan, is now named Nivera?
Navarre.
Navarre, thank you. Now named Navarre. They end up stopping in there, and the new fancy technology, the hologram projection of the president of the planet is there, and she's very aggressive, doesn't want to give them any information about this. What was it called? SB-19?
SB-19.
Doesn't want to give any information about SB-19 because stuff is not going well on the planet. It's kind of what I gathered. They're still having a lot of tension and stirring up this old bad news, or whatever you want to call it, is not going to be good for the situation. So they basically don't want to help, and they kind of she tells them to leave. And Burnham pulls a ancient Vulcan ritual out of her pocket there that makes them form a council to decide if she should get this knowledge, I think, because she has to defend herself. Something to that effect, basically. So we see this, especially in the Next Generation, where, what Riker was up for trial for murder once, or maybe twice. We've seen this a couple times where one of them had to play lawyer for another member. And so at this point, I was like, ooh, who's going to be this lawyer? Is it going to be Stamets? That's kind of where I was leaning. But we quickly find out that it's not, that she's going to be dealt an advocate from the planet. And who is this? Guys, we get a call back to Picard. I was super excited when she said this. And then I was like, well, who's this going to be? Like, because they kind of played it up as it was going to be someone important that she knew. And I was like, well, as far as I know, nobody should still be alive from the Picard era. And when she unmasked, it was her mother, of all people. Didn't see that coming. Honestly, I didn't really like it at first, but it worked really well through the episode. So I'm cool with it. So these were the Kawat Malat. No, that's not right. How do you say it?
Pretty close.
Millet? Whatever. Anyways, these are the absolute candor people, the nuns from Picard.
Bene Gesserit of the Star Trek universe.
And so, yes, so she's going to be her advocate. And wow, nice little reunion they had there. Like I said, I'll be honest, at first I thought, what? This seems weird. But once she kind of explained her situation and then how she helped, I really liked. What did you guys think of this?
I was wondering when they were going to bring her mom back. And I was actually pleasantly surprised it was her. Now, how she became one of the Mutat whatever they're called, how she became one of them, the absolute candor people, I'm still curious. I mean, I know, as the episode goes on, she explains a little bit, but I'd like I'd actually like to see that happen.
I'd agree with that. I'd definitely like to see a little bit more, maybe from her perspective, how she, went through her wormhole and got back to here, got back to this time. Her introduction into the Sisters of Kawat Malat is a lot like what's his face is from Picard. I mean, she was essentially an orphan. I mean, an orphan in the sense of she was out of time and they had no family, so they adopted her into the sisterhood. It's the same way that what I can't think of his name now in Picard, but he didn't have any family, and therefore the sisters adopted him as well and sort of indoctrinated him into their train of thinking. So that wasn't a surprise to me. I think it's convenient. I like that we've sort of bridged Next Generation and Picard into Discovery, and so we've legitimized everything, but it just definitely seems convenient.
So Dave Miller, from a YouTube follower for us, made a comment that is related to what we just were talking about. He said that the new Trek doesn't have the luxury of 30 episode seasons like the classic Trek does. So what Discovery is doing is it's packing so much into such fewer time. So you're getting half the stuff, or I'm sorry, you're getting double the stuff. Well, I'm sorry. No, I keep saying that wrong. So you're getting all this content in half the time that you would with a previous Trek series, and that's why it's kind of cramming all in there. And he's right, or they're right. Dave, I assume, is a guy. But yeah. Anyways, Will, what do you want to go back to?
So I want to talk about the 3 ships they were talking about with the black boxes.
Mm-hmm.
So did you guys catch the name of one of them?
Don't remember that.
The
No.
Yelchin. So if you guys recall, Anton Yelchin was the guy that actually passed away that played Chekhov in the new movies. So I thought that was a nice touch for what they did with that. And then I also wanted to ask you guys, what did you guys think about them showing and we got the audio of Spock. What's his name? Leonard Nimoy. Gosh, brain fart. We had Leonard Nimoy kind of in the show. What do you guys think about that?
I think that was a great move. Instead of going with, an older version of the new Spock, they just went to the classic. That was just the way to do it. I mean, I didn't expect it.
And then they mentioned they did a call out to Picard as well. They talked about, Jean-Luc Picard or whatever. I can't remember the exact quote what they said, but I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, that episode really tied into what was going on with the unification.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really what I wanted to before we got too far.
Well, unification's many parts here in this whole series. Like, they unified everything.
Right.
I mean, so speaking of that, so as I predicted, I would like to point out, Saru offers Tilly the first seat or first command, whatever you want to call it.
So you and Brad both bet on that. I said she wouldn't.
Yeah,
we had a bet going on. Yeah, I don't remember what the bet was for.
Well, it's a good thing it was recorded. We could just go back to last week's episode and figure out what you owe us.
Well, that'd be great if it was edited and posted. That'd be awesome.
Oh, you son of a!
Speaking of that, you'll see our episodes are going to come back to back this week. When Brad gets the first one edited, we'll get this one up shortly after. So yeah. So anyways, so that happened. She was really unsure of herself. She went and saw Stamets, and Stamets, man, he did bad. Like, he just made it. He was as surprised as all of us was, and he does not have a good poker face. And so I didn't know where that was going to go until the end, but we'll get there. So next up.
Wait. I'm not tracking with what you're saying. What? Say all that again, or not all of it, but just. I'm not tracking with what you were saying there.
When Tilly talks to Stamets about what has happened, that she got offered the first officer position, and Stamets is like, "What? You're going to be my commanding officer," and he seems like he's not cool with it, really.
And you tell her it'd be weird to take orders from her,
right? And so you could tell it kind of upsets her, and she leaves pretty quick, like she's out. Right. So I didn't know if this was going to play out for long, but they end up wrapping that up at the end. But
okay.
So, are you good?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. So the trial starts to go, and obviously there's a lot of negative things getting pulled out about how they don't want to help Starfleet. The president's talking to Saru, who's trying to be diplomatic and kind of telling him that there's other reasons why they pulled out. It wasn't just this SB-19 data issue. There was things that happened beforehand. And so she goes into a little bit of detail about how Starfleet was kind of expanding too fast, not really taking care of what they were controlling, and things were getting left behind and missed. And they are the reason that all of the kryptonite, just kidding, all of the dilithium, thank you, is gone for some reason, because they were just expanding so fast and using so many resources. And so we kind of get that whole part. The trial's going bad for her and the 3 representatives. 2 of them are kind of okay. The one's very in the middle. The other one's on her side, and the one in the middle, who's the leader, is very strongly against it. And so her mother's there.
Was all about it, though.
Right. And her mother's there trying to help her at first, but then she starts to see that she's going to have to be true to herself. She needs what's it called? Honest candor? That's not right. Absolute candor.
Absolute candor.
Yeah, she needs that approach. And so she has a little talk with her when they take a little recess, and kind of tells her, this is not going well for you. And so we go back in, and she just lays it out and says, she's basically lying to you. She's not telling you the truth, what her true intentions are. And so it causes Michael to have to go completely honest about it, that she's even unsure of herself and Starfleet. And then she also kind of, I think, comes to a realization that they need to come together and that she is Starfleet at the same time. And I think it kind of made her decision that she is going to stay with the ship at that point. So what do you guys think about all this stuff going on right now?
And she withdraws her request to get the information well.
She dings the tong, and yep, trial is over. And her mother left her the big comment when they separated there at the little break that there's other people watching, which is a slick little hint, I think. Brad, what'd you think of this?
I mean, we're covering a lot of material here. So what did I think of all of that? Okay. So I guess let me start with this. I don't know that I completely agree with the way that you presented that a bit. I think that her mom was not being was always on her side, was always trying to get her to be absolutely transparent about everything, knowing that if she did, she was going to earn the trust that she wanted the quorum to have in her. So I don't know that there was anything. I think the timing was all perfect as far as the way that she presented Burnham, the way that Gabrielle, her mother, presented Burnham, the way that she was trying to dig into the things that Burnham wasn't bringing to the surface. So all of that was done, in my opinion, masterfully. I think that was some great writing. I'm trying to think of the rest of it. Like, there was a lot that I had to say when you were talking, and now I'm drawing some blanks here. Well, what was the last thing you said? Because I think tripped me up the most.
Sorry, I apologize. She withdrew the.
Oh yeah. So the idea that she did that, I think, to me, that was the whole thing that like cinched everything. Like, that, as soon as she did that, I was like, oh, she's gonna get what she wants, because she withdrew her request, not because she didn't want the data, but because she didn't want she saw that it was causing a schism between the Romulan side and the Vulcan side, and that the Romulo Vulcan representative was also kind of, getting pulled in the center. There was a lot of tension coming up that was going. It had she let it go on, it would have ripped apart the whole unification. She said, "Look, we're not going to let this request cause another rift between two species that have finally come back together." So that showed a lot of character for Burnham, and you could tell that it shocked Saru that she had done it. I don't know, that impressed me, and I was glad that happened as well.
Can I jump in there? Because
yeah,
I think it also shows that Starfleet isn't there just doing anything they can, making all the cat whatever announcements, trying to use Burnham, trying to use Spock's name to get what they want. They are also worried about how it affects other races. And they're not just trying to get data, they're trying to actually get answers, but at the same time, those answers aren't worth everything that the Vulcans and the Romulans have gone through to try to reunite. Right. And I think, like you said, I think that just kind of like cinched the deal. But I really think it just shows what old Federation used to be, and the ideals that the Vulcans used to have were the same. And obviously it has changed as time went on. And I really think it's almost as if they're trying to get the Federation back to its roots of what it was. And Vulcans would be all about that. My concern is the Romulans were very just, hey, we're going to do it because we don't care, what the Vulcans think. We're going to go ahead and give her the data and the information. So I think no matter what's going to happen, I don't know how, if the Vulcans do come back to the Federation like later on in the series, I think it no matter, it's going to cause some sort of rift with the Vulcans.
Well, your mic's going out there, buddy.
Yeah, I was getting some speaker issues.
Yes, you guys are right. Thank you for pointing that out. I did think her mom turned on her there midway through. And like you said, Brad, she did it with good intentions, but you could tell like it shook Burnham. So that's kind of where I was going with that when I was talking about it at the beginning. So do you think Saru's going to hook up with the old president of the Vulcans?
Nope, I
Hook
just think he's
up.
being a good
No.
diplomat.
I disagree. I think they got a spark. But anyways,
I think she's Section 31.
Oh my gosh, you guys are ridiculous.
she's O's replacement.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so trial finishes up. Like you guys said, we get a next scene back with them. Stamets has gathered all the higher ranking crew and surprises Tilly. And so Tilly, I think Stamets realized he kind of messed up when she approached him about it. And continuing with the Stamets is a good guy and probably going to die at the end of the season thread we got going on here. He brings them all together and they all tell her, go for it. Yes, we believe in you. Blah, blah, blah. And so Michael comes in and puts the little cherry on top and says, yes, do it. And so obviously Tilly is going to take the job. And I did like the little cute scene. It was kind of awkward again though, kind of like the whole dinner they had in the captain's quarters or whatever. I don't know. What'd you guys think of that?
Well, the scene where they went down to the science bay and Stamets, pulled everybody together to tell Tilly to make the decision. Like I said this a lot last episode, like who is this Stamets? Like that's not him. What he said to her in the spore drive, like little pod or whatever, that to me was more what Stamets was in seasons 1 and 2. But like this season has got a softer Stamets that is just weird. He was almost happy to pull everybody together and do this really nice thing for Tilly that he never would have done that before. I think I like the turn. I think the turn between the two is a little bit of abrupt without more discussions. I think because, we discussed this, on and off the podcast, I think we all see that it's got to do with the way that Culber came back. And so we're not as surprised by it. But I think there's a lot of storytelling that did not get done for us to just assume that situation that takes place. Now, I want to bake in the comment that YouTube commenter David had said about they got to pack a lot more in this episodes, and I agree. When you said that, I was like, yeah, that's a really good point, that they do have to pack a lot more detail into a lot smaller piece of a lot smaller window here. And then as I'm mulling over, I do agree and I don't agree with that to some degree, because Next Generation had it was an episodic sort of thing and not a story arc. So for them to deliver on the majority of their storytelling, you could watch each individual episode as a contained package, and you would get a little piece of a larger arc. Sometimes, not all the time. Generally, stuff like that happened, over the course of that whole series, but never really like had stories that were stitched together as much as this is right now. So I think the storytelling is quite a bit different. So on that part, I disagree. The part I do agree with is that we don't have as much opportunity to explore some of these interpersonal relationships that we would have in Next Generation or even, Voyager or Deep Space Nine. There was a lot more opportunity to learn why, Deanna and Riker had their complex relationship. There was a lot more, ways to figure out that Odo and Kira loved each other, and a lot more opportunities to figure out, Paris and B'Elanna and Voyager. So to get Stamets' relationship with anybody in here outside of Culber is going to be really hard, because we don't get those character moments. So I don't know. I think I'm missing something here. I think maybe a short trek would fix this for me.
Why didn't we get those this time?
I don't know. I really don't.
I missed them. I was looking forward to them.
I bet we'll get them after the mid-season finale.
I don't know. They didn't. They didn't.
Season and the next season, we'll get a couple. But
so do you guys? Go ahead. Sorry.
This is the mid-season finale.
Nah, is it really?
It's 7. Yeah, there's only 14 episodes, I think.
That doesn't mean it's the finale. We get another episode next week.
Yeah, like I don't know if they're doing one. That's what I'm saying.
Do you guys feel
Maybe.
like that's helping or hindering the show? Them not having so much character development and more time to relate to the characters. I mean, like you were saying, Brad, that Next Generation and Discovery, as far as like the interpersonal relationships, that's why you began to not like characters, but you began to love characters. Like when I first started watching Next Generation, Worf was okay. I mean, by the end of Deep Space Nine, Worf was my favorite character. But I had 2 series to watch him develop as a character in several movies. But it's almost as if, we've got, like you said, 14 episodes in this one season. Like Stamets goes from this hard ass to this softy. Yes, we had the Culver issue and the emotions there, but Culver died. Okay. It's like that girl from last episode, or was it the last episode from the Seed ship? Or was that 2 weeks ago? I don't remember.
No.
The one that died, and we were like, or I didn't even know the color of her eyes. I didn't realize her eyes were actually brown or green or whatever.
She didn't die. She just stayed on the Seed ship.
Whatever. I didn't even care. So that's my point. Is like I don't care. Like there are certain characters like because Saru stands out so much because he looks different. You got Tilly and Stamets as far as like in key position roles. I didn't even know Detmer's name until season 2, and I cannot remember the other girl's name.
Ewo.
Yeah. See, they die. Okay. I don't care.
Wait. What? She didn't die.
I'm saying if they die
or
get removed from the ship. Okay. It's not that I'm not enjoying seeing them. It's, I don't know. There's not as much.
I get what you're saying. Like last season and this season has been a lot more about the story driven. And last season they drove home a lot more about like Spock than Spock and Pike than anything else. And this season has been a lot more about the Burn and about Burnham than it has anything else. So I mean, we get a lot more about Burnham's relationship with Book than we get from anybody else on the ship. We're just expected to assume or expected to accept certain things that are happening in the background without actually seeing it on screen.
Right. But my question is, do you think that's helping or hurting the show? Because you got all these Trekkies are out there who are, like, oh, this is the greatest show, or the new one sucked because of this,
I love it. I mean, so here's the thing. Like, you're right. I wish they would do short tracks where we actually got more detail, like they did with Saru. We got one of him, on his own home planet and how he joined Starfleet. And then like that was really helpful to like build his character. They really need to do those for every character if they're not going to put them in the episodes. And I don't know, I really like the story building they do with those short little skits. I wish they would do more of them.
Yeah, so I guess I'm having a hard time saying whether or not it's hurting or helping the show because it's a different storytelling package. Like, I think where I have a problem with it is in these moments here where you get a character that is making such a different decision than they would have made before. I think is where we have the most trouble with it. Detmer, I understand what you're saying. She was definitely a background character during season 1, and I think we were surprised when in subsequent seasons that she started to. I mean, she didn't even get a speaking role. She didn't have any lines until, I mean, last season, like towards the end of last season, right? Like we didn't even know what her voice sounded like, and I like that they've kind of elevated her to be a stronger character, but even some of the other people, like they just have been elevated to be more characters. But the characters that have been with us this whole way. Saru, Stamets, Culber, Burnham, Giorgio to a degree, although I could argue that one a bit. If they all make major changes, we've got to have a reason for it, right? And we've got to see an on-screen reason for it. Like we saw it with Saru, his massive change was when he lived past the point of a typical Kelpian, and he shedded his fear ganglia. Like once that happened, like okay, we get why he's a lot more confident right now. He had a major thing go on. And why did Burnham change? Well, she spent a year on her own in a universe that was dramatically different than what she was used to, and was influenced by book and everything else she had going on. Okay, that makes sense to me. Stamets, on the other hand, like he what he was on the right side, on the last season side of this wormhole, and what he came out on this other side of the wormhole, totally different. Like all we get is some passing conversation between him and Culber to other people on why they might be a little softer, but otherwise we don't see that at all. Like we don't see Stamets like coming to realize like, maybe I was a dick, and oh man, like, is that how people see me? Like I'm a real jerk. Oh well, that's not how I feel inside. Like now he's just real soft to every character. Like he's nice to Tilly. He's nice to New Girl. He's nice to to Burnham to some degree that he didn't have before. Just none of that falls in line with the character they've spent 3 seasons building up.
That's true. He wasn't nice to Detmer though. Remember that little spout they got into?
Oh, but I think that got resolved in the next episode. I think I think he's over the whole Detmer thing, because he hugged her when they went to the movie thing, and he was just like, he's like, blah, blah, blah. I get it. Hug. That was, I think that's over with. I mean, it was said in the next episode as kind of a funny callback. Oh, did Detmer tell you that? Like, I think he was saying that to be funny. So
crazy.
So it's not, to get to the root, it's not helping. It's not hurting. It's just different. And maybe I need to think about it differently.
I think because it's different, I don't think it's helping.
That was quite the tangent we went off on. Crazy theory, though. Remember that second image of himself he's seen in the mirror back in season 1? Season 2. What was that? Season 1.
You think this is mirror universe?
I think that's the evil Stamets. All of his evil's out of him, and we're going to see him return as a villain.
Maybe we had the evil Stamets, and maybe the other Stamets was the good one.
No, we saw evil Stamets get knocked into a.
You don't know that was evil Stamets.
That was mirror.
We had, maybe we had evil Stamets in the Prime, and then in the. Ooh, I like where your head's at, Brad or Eric.
Yeah, don't pin that on me.
Something's still going on with him in the mycelial network.
Yeah, I don't. I think you were done with his. I mean, there's nothing else going on with that. He is what he is.
I'll be honest. I hope there's not, but I fear they're going to do something with that, because we never got a resolution to that.
I feel like all he is a piece of machinery now. I don't really think we're getting, like, what else is there? So if he wasn't there, obviously we couldn't use the spore drive.
I'm pretty sure he's going to die at the end of the season. There's too many engineers. We got Jet Reno. We got the new Super Kid. I think he's going to die. I think maybe, I don't know what. We also got 2 medical officers. Maybe Culber's going to die too. They're going to die together. Called it. Season finale right there.
So I had her own command. That was the best.
Enough tangents. I was right. You guys were semi-right, I guess. All right, guys. What would you rate this episode?
I'm going to give this one of the stronger ratings that I've ever given something. I'm going to give it a 9.
Probably my favorite one of the season so far. The title was fantastic. Not only did Burnham get reunited with her mother, we got to find out that the Romulans and the Vulcans got reunited, and then we also got the crew uniting together to tell Tilly to take the promotion. So lots of unification.
Well, wait a minute.
And we also got Book. We also got Book and Burnham uniting in other ways. So much unification here. Go ahead, Will.
Well, okay, so you just cut me off. Then let me explain why I said a 7. This episode is very predictable. Once we knew they were going to the Vulcan, it was like, okay, they're going to get the answers that they need. There was no stress in my mind that we were going to have any problems getting this. At the end, I knew they were going to get the data. There was no concern. We had one surprise, which was her mom. I didn't know who that was. Yes, I agree with you. We got a little bit of I got a little teary-eyed when I heard Leonard Nimoy talking a little bit there and how her bond with her brother and stuff. I thought that was pretty cool. But other than that, it felt like the Earth episode all over again. You talk about the Mandalorian as far as like repeating the same thing, as far as like fighting these different big creatures. Well, we just had the same kind of event happen on Earth where they had to go in and prove themselves to the Earth Defense Force or whatever. We got to prove ourselves to the Vulcans / Romulans, and it's just okay. What's the next race we got to go prove ourselves to? So they join the Federation. So that way, at the end of the series, when we're having this big problem, all these people are going to come together. That's my prediction for the end of this season. Is at the end of the season, we're going to have the last episode. We're going to have some problem with the Federation. The Vulcans are going to come in to help. The Earth Defense Force is going to come in to help. The whoever is going to come in to help. And I think it's all going to stem to Giorgio being part of Section 31, and she is actually one of the robots. The what was his name for the first season or the second season? Control. I think she's part of Control now.
Wow.
Anyway,
you're really stretching. Wow. You're really stretching to hate this episode.
I didn't hate it. It's a 7. Average. It's good. It just wasn't like 9 is all. That episode was absolutely amazing. It was crucial to what is actually going to go on. Nothing here I felt like was a crucial surprise. Oh my gosh, this is great. I will watch this episode over and over again. That is a 9. This was not a 9 episode.
So you knew the Romulans, Vulcans are going to be united, and Spock did it. You also knew that her mother was going to be.
I didn't care. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it didn't progress any point of the story that I think is going to make a difference. I could be wrong. Hate me in the comments. I would love to have somebody say something different in the comments, not you two jackasses who think you love this episode for whatever reason. This was not a stellar watch over and over and over and over again episode. This was an average episode. If it was on, I'd watch it, wouldn't seek it out.
I mean, that kind of emotion doesn't sound like a 7.
No, I'm stressed over your guys' 9s that you guys give this episode. This was not a 9. Is an amazing episode. I will watch that. I will seek it out. I will show my buddies, if you're going to watch Discovery, you need to watch this episode. This was not a 9 episode.
Hey, Unification, one of the best original series, has a part 3. Will. Oh yeah, never mind. I wouldn't watch it.
This episode has connective tissue to so many things.
This was not an episode.
Just stop. You're done. Brad, you rated us a 9. Okay, we all rated it, right? We're good. We're gonna wrap this
2
up.
9s and a 7.
Which we got a lot of on in lower decks. Like normally you guys were the 9s and I was the 7. So
8.
Anyway.
8.
All right, everybody.
Anyway.
All right, we're good, guys. Everybody, thanks for checking out our podcast. You can see all of our content on our website, maturemindedgamers.com. We do board games, video games, podcast, and much more. Have yourself a great night.
Brad and Eric are wrong.